Hi everyone. It has been a while. It's been 4 months and oh my gosh, that's like been the longest that I haven't posted in a really long time. And in the past 4 months, so much has happened to me and so much has happened to my life that is definitely going to impact this YouTube channel, but in a good way, I think. So yeah, I thought that this video could be kind of a hybrid between those weekly vlogs that I do and just a talk through, kind of sit down and chat with you guys vlog. I'll be inserting some clips that were taken from the actual days that I'm going to be talking about here, and it's just so exciting. I'm so happy to be making these videos again, and yeah, let's get started. Oh, and by the way, for those of you guys who may be stumbling upon this for the first time, hi, I'm Weena, and I am a graduate of the Master of Fine Arts program in creative writing for De La Salle University, Manila. So basically on this channel, I talk about books and about life and all of that good stuff. So yeah, subscribe and join me if you're interested. One of the first and probably the biggest update is that Kevin and I got married. It was such a great experience. Like, I don't know. I feel like for people in our generation, when we think of getting married, it's kind of this abstract thing that adults do, and you kind of have it in your mind that it is something you'll do yourself eventually, but you don't really think of it as, I don't know, something that will concretely happen to you. And I think it's one of those things where you don't really know how it's going to feel until you're there. And all I can say is that, oh my gosh, like, getting married is the bomb.com. And of course I say this like if it's with the right person, and in my case I was lucky enough for it to be with the right person, and I was just so freaking happy. Kev and I were so happy. I don't know what to tell you. It was really special. We had a wedding that was pretty small. It was only around 65 people who were there, and it was in this beautiful old church in Makati. It was built, I believe, like during the Spanish occupation, so it's like a really old church, but it's small enough so that it didn't look awkward with our intimate wedding setting. And I wore this beautiful, like, Filipiniana inspired gown with tulip sleeves. And it was really special because it was designed by Perry Diaz, who is my best friend Mars's uncle. And it's really special because Mars passed away last year, and I wanted there to be something in the wedding that would symbolize her and just keep her presence there. So my dress and Kevin's suit were both made by Tito Perry. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And of course, we didn't want this to be the kind of wedding where things are like impersonal and weird. So it was super special and important to me that I got photographers who I knew I could count on and whose aesthetic I really liked. I wanted someone who wouldn't take just generic photos. So I got my friend Abby Paner, who is like a stellar photographer, and she and her friend Kenji, who's also like an amazing photographer, were the ones there taking our photos, and the photos just turned out so freaking beautifully. I don't know, but like when I had the wedding in mind, I wasn't really thinking of photos. I was thinking of more like, I want to live there, like I want to be in the experience, I want to enjoy the day. But in hindsight, I was so freaking grateful that we got photographers who took so many photos, because the pictures were just so mind-blowingly beautiful. And after the wedding, honestly, I was freaking obsessed. Like, I couldn't stop looking at the photos because they were just so beautiful. And then of course there's the actual experience of getting married. Kevin and I were like crying like crazy. I wasn't even halfway down the aisle and he was like bawling. And by the time that I got there, like I was pretty choked up myself. And then of course during the reception, we cried. We just cried a lot. For context, we've been together for around 12 years now. 12 years this year, I think. And I don't know, it's really strange. I guess it's just very emotional, and it's really different to kind of tell people that, hey, this is my person. And I think now I fully appreciate the beauty in making that public declaration. Like, of course, yes, it's the two of you guys in the marriage, but there's just something really special about making that super duper amazingly official, and I'm so freaking happy. If you guys have any, like questions and stuff about marriage and about like the wedding and how we planned it and all of that, if you're interested in that, just let me know. This isn't like a wedding channel, but yes, I totally understand the plight of brides everywhere. It really is an event, and it's like a crazy task to, put everything together. So that was just really, really amazing and incredible, and I loved every second of it. My second biggest update is that I left my job at the UN. So for the past 2 or so years, I've been working for the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. I was a program assistant supporting the health and drugs, environment, and anti-corruption profiles. And it's very strange because at my old job, my main job was like program management, so fixing conferences, holding events, that kind of thing. And so when I went into this job at the UN, I kind of thought it would be much of the same, but it was very different. It was the kind of experience where I learned a lot, and it definitely kind of really strengthened me as a person, because we would be flying from place to place like every week. I think I filmed like more travel videos in like the past 2 or so years than I have my entire time here on YouTube. And on the one hand, like that was great, but it was also very physically exhausting. And I think I realized just how, even if it might sound cliche, that health is wealth. Although your body can take that kind of stress, you kind of ask yourself after a time, should your body take that kind of stress? So after much deliberation, of course, it wasn't an easy thing for me to do because I'd already kind of gotten the hang of that job, and for the most part, I think I did enjoy it. I met lots of really interesting people. There were a lot of things that I enjoyed about it, like being able to help conceptualize events and that kind of thing. I really, really freaking love that. But at the same time, I would kind of find myself questioning, where is this going and what am I doing with my life? I mean, I turned 32 last December, and I started this channel when I was like 25, I think, or 24. So, it's just like, when am I going to focus on stuff that I really like? When am I going to focus on stuff that I'm actually good at? And, I just felt like even if it was a sacrifice, and even if I definitely learned a lot there, ultimately it would be a sacrifice that I would have to make. And after I resigned back in October, I was kind of thinking about things that I would need to do before moving forward, and before kind of, getting out there and getting like started with my new job and everything. And one of the things that I decided to do was to take a Strengths Finder assessment. For those of you guys who may not be familiar with the Strengths Finder assessment, it's basically this assessment that was created by Gallup, and the psychologist who developed it is named Clifton. So it's called the Clifton Strengths Finder. And that assessment basically gives you your strengths profile, what it is that you are the best at, and what are the things that come naturally to you, in the sense that all your life you've been rewarded for that thing feels effortless to you. Like, even if you have to learn something or like a new skill within that thing, you pick it up really, really quickly. So it's kind of teaching you to build on your strengths and build on your talents. And I kind of believed in that philosophy already before, but I'm also kind of a very stubborn person where I will sometimes force myself to learn things that are just out of my comfort zone and not my strength at all, just to prove to myself that I can learn it. And it's interesting because one of my top strengths is actually like being a learner. So it's insane. It's freaking insane. And this is going to sound so dramatic, but taking this assessment really freaking changed my life. I also had a coaching session with attorney Dexter Diwas, who was my former colleague at the UN, and he does these coaching sessions and stuff. Actually, I'll leave his YouTube channel below, but it was just a mind-blowing experience. Basically, he walks you through all of the strengths profiles and you take a look at your own assessment, and you're able to see like what are the things that you have to do to be able to maximize that. And there's also something called like being in the basement with your strengths and being at the balcony with your strengths. So when you're in the balcony, basically happy ka. Basically, you're maximizing your strengths, you're utilizing your strengths, you're in the strength zone, you're in a place where you can excel and you can thrive. And when you're in the basement, you're in a situation where you're not able to utilize your strengths. And usually, these are the situations that lead you to feeling like a failure, or where you should be collaborating with other people on that instead of taking the burden on yourself. And it was just mind-blowing. And one of the things that Attorney Dex told me was that once you know your strengths, it can also make it easier for you to say no to things that you know are not in your strength zone, or that you know are not going to help build up your strengths. And my top 5 strengths, which I will show you here, just to give you guys an example in case you guys are interested in this kind of thing, they all point to training, learning, teaching, just being in a place where I can achieve, and being in a place where I can help other people achieve also. And so it was just like life-changing and amazing. And I'm so happy that I did that. And I just felt myself get excited for things again for the first time in a long time. I think I'm a pretty cheerful person. Like, honestly, I could be excited over anything. Like, I get excited to go to sleep at night so I can wake up in the morning and drink coffee. But during my last few months at my old job, I really was feeling super sad and like things would never be okay again with regard to work. And oh, damn, like that's not me. I'm fortunate enough to have, strangely enough, landed pretty much all of my dream jobs. I will elaborate further. So first, I want to talk about my full-time job, which is still crazy to me that I get to do. Like, it's such a privilege to be there. So my new job is that I am the program manager for training and development for the American Chamber of the Philippines. And it's basically just like destiny that happened. And I applied last July and they didn't call me back. And then the week that I had COVID and was feeling terrible, but also ironically in a space to just reply and check my emails and my personal messages regularly, they messaged me for an online interview. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And the job is basically everything everything that I kind of love to do. My experience at my old job, like pre-UN, kind of lends to this job too, and my family business, which I talked about in a previous video, which is like training and development and consulting and like, building people's skill sets, basically also kind of fed into that. And I was just like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then I had like my interview with my current boss, and it was just, they're just some people that you click with quickly. And then I met the team and it was just so freaking amazing and freaking awesome. And I'm so happy right now. I basically help develop and build like the training programs that the chamber offers, and it's awesome. Like, this isn't even like a shameless plug or anything. I'm just really happy. And if you guys are interested in that training, by the way, I'll leave the link to their Facebook page. But wow, like, I'm so freaking happy. And I said earlier that like I got my dream jobs, and oh my god, first of all, you guys may know that for a while I taught at Enderun colleges, and after that I've been looking for a way to kind of get back into teaching, but part-time, and specifically with subjects that are more technical, because previously I taught literature but to ESL students, so it was a little bit more basic and it was a little bit more tied into like English proficiency skills. But I wanted to focus on literature. I wanted to focus on actual things that I can really work on the content and really like build the substantive, stuff that I will be teaching. And first of all, I got this amazing opportunity to be a lecturer at the College of St. Anthony. They are a small, relatively new college in Bulacan, but their curriculum is freaking amazing. They focus on multimedia, they focus on comms. I think they also have like a couple of other courses like for teachers and stuff like that, and they reached out to me to handle their development communications course, and I was really shocked like looking at the syllabus. Coincidentally, like all of the things, like the topics that are being discussed there were basically the programs that I was handling when I was at the UN. It's just eerily freaking amazing. Like there's a module on health and communication, there's a module on inequality and like corruption, there's a module on the environment. So I'm shocked. And I met Miss Trisha, who is basically the head, like the academic head kind of the college department. And she was so cool. And this lead came to me from my friend Kara, who I've known since childhood. So thanks so much, Kara, if you're watching. I love you. Thank you so much for thinking of me. And last December, when I was kind of planting the seeds of everything that I wanted to do coming into the new year, and after my forthcoming graduation from my master's, freaking finally, I sent in a part-time teaching inquiry at De La Salle University's Lit Department, which is basically the dream because I really respect my professors so much, and having learned from them all of like these techniques and having heard criticism from them for my work, and also having been just there to see how they analyze literature, how they talk about literature, that's basically the dream until my PhD, right? It's like teach at the Lit department. That's always been there. And I'm just so happy because yesterday I had my demo and interview, and your girl is gonna be a lecturer at the De La Salle Lit department. I'm so freaking happy. And some of you guys like messaged me to ask like stuff like questions about the courses and stuff like that, and now I can actually answer you guys in more or less an official capacity, and I'm just so freaking excited. I'm so excited to teach literature, which is like the thing I am the most freaking passionate about, and it's just so amazing. Wow, like just to be able to talk about literature for around like 6 hours a week, that's insane to me. And I feel like working on those modules will also give me time to develop content for this channel and talk about the stuff that I've missed talking about. Yeah, I'm just so happy, and I feel super grabe. Sobra talaga, like just so freaking lucky. But also, I also want to say that, you know, these types of opportunities, it's also crazy what you have to kind of give up to be able to, you know, follow or pursue the things that you want to pursue. And it has not been easy. I will say that, like, in terms of managing like the financial portion of transitioning between jobs and getting married and having like money going out and like not a lot of money coming in, it's been difficult. And yeah, if you're thinking of moving jobs, I will say like take that into account. And that's probably something I can do a video on too, like things that I wish I knew yeah, before moving jobs. But also #no regret. I'm just so freaking happy to be able to do the things that I love. So yeah, there will be more content on here moving forward that's Filipino literature driven, that's literature driven, that's learning driven. I'm going to go back to doing like interviews and stuff again, and I'm just so happy to be back in my strength zone. And if you guys are here after all of these years and are watching this despite me not posting for a couple of months, thanks so much for your patience, and please continue to help me out, help a sister out. Thanks so much. I'm so grateful, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.